Being an independent contractor has become slightly more difficult since they've signed into law California AB5. But don't worry, if being an independent contractor is something that you truly want to do, I'm going to show you how to do it in today's video. Hey, what's going on, family? It's your favorite uncle, cousin, Tyrone Gregory here, and welcome to the Self-Employed Tax Guys YouTube channel, where I take you behind the curtains of both business and taxes, exposing you to the truth so you can become successfully self-employed. All right, so in today's video, I am simply going to be covering how do you truly remain independent contractor? That's something that you really want to do, because since the inception of this California AB5, there has been a lot of uproar, so to speak, right? There's been some people who absolutely love it. Then there are those who absolutely hate it because they have been impacted by it, which is truly understandable. But if I can today just shed some light on how you can truly remain independent, maybe making it possible for those who have been impacted negatively by this bill, maybe if they apply these things that we share today, can actually kind of reverse that and get back to being truly independent. So I really want to do this here today. So let's go ahead and get to it. All right, but before we get to this video, let me just say, man, I really, truly appreciate all of you who joined me when I attempted to record this live back in December of 2019. And I'm gonna say, man, y'all are definitely some good people. I appreciate that y'all tried to spare me from myself, because the only reason I'm recording this again, because when I recorded it live, it didn't quite come out the way I wanted it to. I was talking into the mic, and when I transitioned to the slides, my audio cut off. So y'all completely missed out on everything I was saying as I was telling you what was going on in the slide. So we're going to do this again. So here we go, everybody. California Assembly Bill number 5, Part 2, how to truly be independent. But before we get into the aspect of how to truly be independent, let us do a quick recap just so we will be refreshed on everything and we can better understand it here. Now, the whole Assembly Bill number 5 was brought to us by this court case right here. I know the name seems like it's pronounced Dynamex, but it's actually pronounced Dynamics. Yeah, something that I recently just learned here. But what was significant about this case is the fact that Dynamics is or at least they had people that were driving truck drivers. And so what they decided to do to cut back on payroll costs, because payroll can get expensive for some, to cut back on payroll costs, they decided to take half of their drivers and make them independent contractors, meaning that they was solely responsible for everything, lost all benefits and everything else. But those drivers ended up taking that to the courts. It went all the way to the Los Angeles Supreme Court. And as we can see here on the date, on April 30th, 2018, the Los Angeles Supreme Court sided on the side of the workers. And out of that is where we get California AB5. But the whole idea on this case, or the whole the whole thing that really came about as part of this case, was this here. It is now on the employers, not the employees, not the people filling out the application, but it is now the sole responsibility of the person doing the hiring to make a decision as to, is the person that I'm hiring, am I going to hire them as a W-2 employee, or can I hire them as an independent contractor? That is the whole idea behind the California Assembly Bill number 5. That is the entire spirit can I hire somebody, not can I, but when I'm hiring, are they going to be my employee or an independent contractor? And here is why it's important to make that decision of an employee versus an independent contractor. Because as an employee, you are entitled to unemployment benefits, paid time off, sick pay, vacation pay, family leave, and workers' comp. Those are some beautiful benefits to be entitled to. However, as an independent contractor, what you're entitled to from an employer is zero, zip, zilch, nada, nothing. So you know what? Don't ask. Okay? Again, seeing those benefits, especially now, because as of the recording of this video, we are experiencing a pandemic, right? COVID-19, and there's been a lot of things happening here. But one of the things that really came out of the new CARES package that was just recently signed into law was these extended unemployment benefits. And think about that. For independent contractors, it is going to be difficult, not to say that it's impossible, but it is going to be difficult for those individuals to receive part of that unemployment benefit packet that was included in the CARES Act that was just signed into law recently, versus if they have been employees, right? Receiving unemployment benefits was something that would happen a lot more easier, as it's automatic because employees or employers pay for it. So we can see why there is a love-hate relationship for this AB5. But again, I understand the spirit of the bill. I saw what it was meant to do, to give those who are truly should be listed as W-2 employees, because as we can see right now, we all need access to capital, and doing so as an independent contractor, especially someone who doesn't feel that they should have been or needed to be an independent contractor, it's going to be extremely difficult for them if they don't have everything in place. So again, understanding the spirit of the bill, I get it. But do understand, this bill is only in California. It only affects California residents. This is not a bill that has yet went nationwide. It's not federal law. It's not affecting all 50 states. However, I have this feeling that it will eventually at some point affect other states. But for right now, this bill is only affecting individuals who are residents in California, meaning that if you are a Texas-based, let's just say Texas, right? If you have a business that's situated in Texas, but you are trying to hire independent contractors in California, you are going to be held liable to run them against this A/B test. But let's just say if it was the reverse, let's say if you were a California-based business, right, trying to hire independent contractors in Texas, then yes, you will, because you are in California, and this AB5 is California law, you would then have to run those individuals in Texas under that the AB5 test. Now, there may be ways around it, right? For example, let's say if you were a California-based business, but you also had a business based in Atlanta, okay? If you California resident, but you have a business station based, formed, created in Atlanta, and you wanted to hire independent contractors in Atlanta, then you wouldn't be affected by California AB5. This only affects businesses and residents in California. So if you're not in California, if you're not a resident in California, if you don't have a business in California, you should not be impacted by California AB5. All right, so continuing on with the recap, let's make sure to recap the ABCs. This is what all of this is all about. So let's go ahead again, recapping the ABCs here. First one, A, says that the person is free from the control and direction of the hiring entity in connection with the performance of the work, both under the contract for the performance of the work and in fact. A is simply saying that the person who does the hiring cannot control the person they hired. A is simply a control factor. If there is any level of control, even if it's not exercised, even if they just let you do whatever it is you want to do, how you want to do it, simply because they have the right to control you will automatically disqualify you as an independent contractor. So we have to understand what level of control is there. The only thing that the employer hiring you should be able to control is the outcome of the job they hired you for. That's it. Any more control over that, disqualify. And keep in mind, you have to pass all 3 tests to still be considered an independent contractor. You just can't fail 1 and pass 2 or pass 2 or whatever the math is, but you have to pass all 3. B, this is where things become challenging because B says the person performs the work that is outside the usual course of the hiring entity's business. And this is where B becomes challenging because if it's your main core, the core of your business is to say, let's just say to do, boogie, and you hire somebody to do the same exact thing, then they've automatically failed, okay? You cannot hire somebody to do the same exact thing that you're doing or the same thing that is the core of your business. Doing that automatically causes them to fail. The individual that you are saying is an independent contractor has to do something that is outside the core of your business, okay? And that right there, like I said, is probably the most challenging part to prove, but it can be proved. There's just certain things we have to do. We're going to discuss that, but keep that in mind. They cannot do the same exact thing that you're doing. That is the core of the business, okay? And finally, we have C. C says the person is customarily engaged in an independently established trade, occupation, or business of the same nature as that involved in the work performed. Now, C is simply asking the question, are you really, truly independent, or are you just saying so for purposes of trying to be, employed with this person? Because C is saying that if you are, I guess the key word here is customarily, that's not a singular word, right? C is saying that if you're saying that you're an independent contractor, then you should be having multiple clients, you should be doing multiple jobs, not just working for this singular entity that's hired you as an independent contractor. That's what C is saying, because if you are customarily doing whatever it is that you've been hired for, you should be doing that for a wide range of people, okay? So kind of like a plumber, right? We can use a plumber as an example. Plumbers are independent contractors because they don't work for necessarily a main company, okay? They can go out to multiple construction sites and do a job at that site, but because that's something that they're customarily engaged in and they do it for a wide range of people, it's easy to prove that they are truly independent. All right, so now that we've done the recap, we know how all of this came to be. We now know we refreshed our minds on the ABC test that needs to be passed as independent contractor. The next logical thing to do, or the next thing we want to talk about is, well, what do we do, right? So here is what I'm going to share you what to do to remain independent. And the first thing, let me say this. This is not in no particular order, right? This is just the things to do in order for you to truly remain independent. And starting with this one here, again, no particular order, just putting it out there. Set your own rates. And this is where it really truly makes you independent, because most of the time when people are trying to hire individual, the rates have already been set. The number is in the contract, like, I'm going to hire you at this rate. This is what you're going to work for. Well, to truly be independent, you're going to have to prove that the rate that you're being paid was set by you. You have to negotiate and set your own terms, set your own rates. If you can somehow, some way show that the rate that you were being paid, right, was set by you, then hey, that's a step towards proving that you are truly independent, right? Nobody told you, I'm hiring you at this rate. This is what you're going to work for. That's where the challenge comes in at, but you have to be able to prove that you were able to set your own rate, okay? The next one, process your own payments. Technology today has made it extremely easy for us to process our own payments. I am holding in my hand right now what is called a Square reader. And it's something that you you just plug it, you take it into your smartphone, you plug it into the actual phone. You can see I just plugged it into my phone, and you can process a credit card right there on the spot. Very simple to do. There should be no excuse for anybody not to process their own payment. The challenge comes in when it comes to processing your own payment and really prove that you are independent is, I guess, in itself, processing your own payment, because in order to do that, you cannot receive payment from the person hiring you. Right? Like the customer, because there's always going to be, like, especially if you're trying to be independent contractor, there's always going to be three people involved. There's you, there's the customer, there's the person who hired you. So from the customer, the payment has to go from the customer directly to you. It cannot go from the customer to the hiring entity, then to you. That can't happen. It has to go directly from the customer to you. Okay? Once you do that, you're good to go. And again, this Square, and I'm promoting Square because I use them. I don't have an affiliate link or anything like that. Just, it's free to sign up. This little gadget is free. If you want to go like on a high end, I have a personal, I do believe it's called the Square terminal. It's portable. All you need is a internet connection, and you can turn the hotspot on your phone, and you can type it in manually. You can take credit cards, you can swipe, you can tap. Just get something, process your own payments. It cannot come from the customer to the person hiring you to you. As long as you can avoid that, that's an additional step to ensure that you remain independent. Next, we have set your own hours. Now, this is kind of going back to that test of A, right? Like there's no control. You can come in and do what you want to do as long as you meet the deadline, as long as you achieve what's been set out to be achieved in the contract. Set your own hours, pretty much self-explanatory, not a lot to do there. But again, it has to be shown that your own hours are set. You cannot be under the working hours of the person hiring you, per se, okay? Simply set your own hours. Not a lot to really go into there because it's pretty straightforward. Set your own hours. Next, keep your own book of business. Lots of times, especially when we're independent contractors, we go hire for people, we pretty much just, they give us the clientele from them. Again, dealing with those three individuals, you, the hiring entity, and the customer. Again, the hiring entity cannot provide you with the customers. If you're servicing their customers, that pretty much don't count. The interaction needs to be between you and the customer directly. You need to have your own book of business. You need to have your own marketing. You need to have your own customer acquisition plan, your own book of business. They belong to you, meaning that they go where you go. If you leave that particular location and you're not finished with them, well, guess what? They'll still be dealing with you. It's your own book of business, right? We see this a lot of times in when it comes to the beauty industry, right? There's a main beauty salon there that may have people working there, and then they come and those customers belong to the actual salon, and the salon is just saying, okay, this individual is available to do your hair, and then that becomes, the customer, but that customer belongs to the salon. That can't be. You have to maintain your book of business, and you are just renting a space from that salon to serve your book of business, okay? That's what that means when we say maintain your own book of business, and that's just something additional so you can be or remain truly independent, okay? Next on our list is maintain your business license or licenses. And what I mean by maintain your own business license, meaning that you cannot work under the license of someone else. If you are a contractor, you need to have your own contractor's license. If you are a barber or a beautician, a cosmetologist, or whatever it is that you have to work under your own individual license. If there is a license requirement for your industry, then the license that you are operating under should be that of your own, under your name or under your business name. It cannot be under the name of the person who actually is looking to employ you. Very simple. Just make sure that everything is under your name. And the S business license could also wanted to say that if the city that you're working in or the jurisdiction that you're working in requires that you actually have an actual license for your business to operate a business in that area to show that you're zoned for, that you have permission, you'll need to get that as well if it's allowed. I know it may be in some situations you may not be able to have more than one business license at a singular location. If that's the case, then maybe we'll be able to get around that. But if you are allowed to get your own business license outside of your technical license, then I'm going to suggest that you do that as well. And next thing you want to do is issue a 1099 to the people and places that you pay. So this here, by issuing a 1099, is pretty much like keeping that circle of independence going, right? Because you'll be paid on a 1099 miscellaneous by the person paying you. That keeps them independent. So you're going to have to do the same. Like, for example, again, using the beauty salons and barbershops. If you are renting a booth there, and you're paying that rent to the owner of the facility, then you're going to issue a 1099 miscellaneous to the owner showing that you paid rent, okay? You are going to issue that. It's not going to be, when you do the 1099, it's not going to be in box 7 because that shows if you put the information in box 7 of a 1099, that's showing that you paid them as an independent contractor. No, you don't want to do that. You simply want to put the income 1099 box 3 to show that you paid them rent. That's what it is for, okay? So again, anytime you pay rent to somebody, or even if you hire somebody to help you with a task, again, we got to be AB5 with them too, but if you pay them more than $600 in a year, you're going to have to issue them a 1099. And by doing so, definitely has that paper trail of you doing your due diligence and keeping yourself truly independent. Okay. All right. And those were just a few of the major things that you can do to ensure that you truly remain independent. Of course, there's a lot of other things you could do. One of the ones coming off the top of my head is making sure that all the paperwork is in place, putting a contract, having it on paper, that all of the things that we just discussed, from setting your own rates, setting your own hours, setting your own payments, all of that is in a contract. All of that is on paperwork, and you and the person hiring you as an independent contractor keep those documents on file. Outside of that, how could I say? Not outside of that, but one thing I do want you to note is this. Just forming an LLC or other type of entity may not work. Look, I get it. I understand. There are, since California AB5 has come out, has been signed into law, I've seen many of posts. I've been asked many of questions. I've been told that this is what people are saying. They're encouraging you to go out here and form these entities, right? They encourage you to form you a C Corp, get you an LLC, do something at the state, form you a legal entity, and that way we can hire you. No, doesn't work like that. AB5 has also included some exemptions for business-to-business transaction. There's approximately 12 tests that must be met before anybody can transact business to business. So just forming these entities, going out and spending this money may not work. So please, before you go out and spend some money to try to form an LLC, C Corp, or whatever it is that they're trying to encourage you to do some research first. Make sure that you're going to be able to pass all 12 of these tests. As a matter of fact, you can watch part 3 of this series, which I will break down all 12 of these tests required in order to qualify as a genuine business-to-business transaction. So again, I am begging you, please, before you go out, spend money on something, make sure it's going to work for you. I do not want you to spend money and it still doesn't pan out the way you want it to. All right. So this one here is for those individuals who are the hiring person, okay? The only thing you can do to really comply with this AB5 is to change your business model, okay? And here's what I mean when I say you change your business model, because you want to change it to where they don't work for you. Okay, if you are in an industry where you have a lot of independent contractors and AB5 really just ruined it and you had to let a whole lot of people go, I'm just making a suggestion, planting a seed, giving you an idea, maybe possible. It may not work for you, it may work for you, but changing your business model is to where they're not working for you, right? You are referring them out. At this point, you may be a referral agency versus an actual hiring agency. It's kind of like the Yellow Pages, right? The Yellow Pages is an advertising company, and people pay them, right, to get customers because people go to the Yellow Pages to find them. So maybe by changing your business model, well, you are the Yellow Pages for the industry that you hired in. So as opposed to hiring them and then sending them to the customer, you allow the customer to come to you to find them. Just a thought, just to kind of give somebody an option for those who are truly trying to remain independent and for those who are employers, okay? Hope that helps. It is recap time. Alrighty, family, so there you have it, man. A few things that you can do, that you can implement right now today to help you truly remain independent and avoid the California, well, I can say avoid the California AB5, but past A, B, and C. Therefore, you can still remain an independent contractor and do what it is you want to do. Again, just knowing that the spirit of the bill is to protect those who have been misclassified as independent contractors. Yes, I know California AB5 has definitely had a negative impact on a lot of individuals who were truly independent and wanted to remain independent so they can have control over their own finances. But at the same time, California AB5 has also given those people who were misclassified an opportunity to be classified as W-2 employee and receive those benefits. Like I said, especially now, if somebody truly wanted to be a W-2 employee, now is a good time to be one with this pandemic because of the unemployment, because of the benefits, the sick pay leave. All of those things have now been written into law that employers can provide for those individuals who are W-2 employees. So I can only imagine those who were misclassified, not knowing that they were misclassified, the challenges that they're going to face trying to receive these benefits without an employer backing it. So again, I know that there is a lot of negatively impacted individuals. I know that, I'm aware, but I'm also aware of what this bill was trying to do in the spirit of helping those who've been misclassified be properly classified, and it would just cut down a whole lot of confusion. It cut down a whole lot of shock and awe. Because remember, as a tax professional, I've seen it. People come in, they thinking like, hey, my first job, here's my W-2. And I'm looking like, well, this isn't a W-2, this is a 1099. And here's the impact of that. And they're shocked and they go, it's a mess. So I understand both sides. I get it. And really, that's just my take on it. Yeah. All right, family, that sums it up for me, man. Once again, I truly appreciate you being here, watching the video. If you haven't subscribed, make sure that you go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you can be notified when new videos are coming out. And as always, make sure that you follow me on social media. You can follow me on all of the ones that are listed here: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. That's where, just in case the videos, in between the videos where I share highlights, updates, and things that's going on there. So until the next video, y'all make sure that you do everything you can to make sure that you become successfully self-employed. And until that time, I'll see you in the next video.